an army wife, and I'm here today to tell you about 3 of the biggest life lessons I've learned as an army wife. When I say army wife, I hope to represent not only our Indian Army, but the entire defense forces, so to say, the Air Force, the Navy, our paramilitary, all the men in uniform who serve the country, some of them who do not even serve, who do not even have a uniform in their work. I hope to represent all of them. So before I go forward with my 3 lessons, let me ask, what do you know about an army wife life? Yes, let's talk about the myth, the reality. What do you know about the army wife life? When I ask this, I get the answers like, you know, ladies clubs, sarkari houses, cheap alcohol is something I get a lot because of CSD, why not? Draped in elegant saris, hashtag desi swag, right? So, yes, we try to keep up. So yeah, those things are correct. I'm not contesting it. It's a good, rich life. Army has a very good culture. And it's amazing to be a part of it. And I used to think all of these things about the army wife too. And then I became one. And what I found out was that it's not just an army wife. The army wife is the silent rank. And I think in all these years that the army, being an army wife is the toughest job in the military. That's right. And I'll tell you why. An army wife, no matter who she is, what she's done, however she's contributing to the society, is always defined by the army, by her husband. Her identity is associated with the uniform that her husband wears. And as much joy and pride that I take in that association, I will tell you today about what it takes to be an army wife, to be wedded to the olive green. So tell me, when do you remember your army, ladies and gentlemen? You remember them when there's a surgical strike, right? You remember them when there's a 26/11, you remember them when there's a natural calamity, and similar situations, I'm sure. You celebrate them when they come back victorious and triumphant, you cheer them in their streets. A little fun fact about our army, Indian Army has 1.4 lakh soldiers who go out there and fight on the borders. That's their duty. This duty requires them to put their life on the line. This duty involves a threat on their life. This thing you know, right? It's their job, they signed up for it. What we sometimes forget is this, that these 1.4 lakh soldiers also have 1.4 lakh families who know that this is their duty, this is their sons, their fathers, their brothers, their husbands' duty to put their life online, right? And I don't think it's a good news for them. Are they proud? Absolutely. But are they happy that their husbands that are going and putting their life on the line? I don't think so. We army wives, for us every goodbye is very emotional. I hope you can understand why. When our husbands are going for an operation, going for a field area, going to a troubled area, we hug them goodbye. We send them off with warm hearts, big smiles, and a silent promise that everything in the household will be taken care of nicely while he's away. But inside, we die 1,000 deaths. We are scared. It's very scary to be in that position, let me tell you that. And this is a very important point I want to bring forward to you. That our soldiers who are going out there and doing their duty to our motherland go through extensive and thorough training for months and for years. They're trained for this. We army wives aren't. There is no training whatsoever for us. There is nothing that prepares us for the kind of emotional turmoil that we face. Let's go to a true story. An operation is underway. let's say in the valley. And it's not one particular, it's not just my story, it happens across India, across various stations, but it's a true story. There's an operation underway, a unit, a Pulton is called, all the officers, all the men, all the soldiers are going. All the wives and families hug them goodbye with smiles and best wishes. We don't know anything, we don't know a thing. Your husband is not at a liberty to tell you where he's going, how dangerous it is, or will he be coming back or not. These are security reasons, they cannot tell us. We cannot ask, it's not a regular conversation, right? Nothing about this situation is regular. You can't call your husband and say, hey, how was your flight to London? Or, hello, did you land in France, how was it? It's not normal. Communication is, as an army wife, you learn that not to take communication for granted. So, he's not at a liberty to tell you. He goes, you know that something big is happening because, hello, news channels. And anchor looks at you in the face and tells you where you are in the area. A big operation encounter is underway, which is now being under control. 3 terrorists have been neutralized and 2 of our own have been shot. Now, for the women in this room, there is no way of telling who these 2 people are. Or worse, let me feel you a little bad. If these 2 shot are 2 shot and alive, or shot and dead, we have no idea. This brings me to torture. This is pure torture, guys. I hope you understand. Torture techniques are used across the world by armies. They're used to break the spirit of the enemy by instilling a certain fear in them. Because there's nothing that can break you as much as fear can, right? There are a lot of torture techniques in this world, and you can Google it, you'll find 100 and then some more. I'll tell you about one today. It's called the mock execution. An enemy soldier, a soldier is captured, is taken to the enemy troops. All the enemy soldiers are standing. This one soldier is being brought to the dais, to the place. He's made to feel that he's being executed. The enemies are cheering, the enemy soldiers. This one soldier is made to stand. A gun is put to his head. The trigger is pulled. But it's a blank round. There are no bullets. He doesn't get shot that day. The people, the enemy soldiers laugh. The soldier, the captured soldier is sent back to his prison. Can you imagine what kind of torture this is? Let me bring you back to the room. Any similarities? This is exactly the kind of torture we are going through in that room. We have no idea who those 2 are, who those 2 people that were shot. And like I said, like it says here, that the soldier may go through it once in his lifetime. The families, the wives, we go through it multiple times. We go through the highest grade of torture with no training whatsoever, no PTSD for us, not at all. And this doesn't seem to be working now. Anyway, let me bring you back to the room. Now the developing story, the news channel, the anchor looks even grim, even more grim. He looks at all of us women in the eye from the television set, and he says, there's been a development. The terrorists have been neutralized, the situation is under control. But out of the 2 men that were shot, 1 is now dead, the other one is alive. The room becomes a situation is of immense emotional turmoil. Let me tell you about this group of women that are in that room. We are co-sisters. We spent 10 months a year together battling similar situations, if not worse. We have each other's back when our husband is out there and not present. We celebrate each other's missed anniversaries, our kids' missed birthdays that the fathers cannot attend for some reason. we love each other to bits, and I can say this about all of us. We love each other to bits. But now, with this one piece of developing news that one out of those two shot is dead, each one of us finds herself in an emotional paradox and an emotional turmoil, because now each one catches herself wishing that the one alive is her husband. And then you also realize that the one who's dead, you mean one of the women, one of your co-sisters from this room becomes a widow tonight, right? It tears our heart in two. And this brings me back to torture. We are not trained for this, and still we endure it. We endure it somehow. My theory is that just by association, the army instills in our DNA a strength and courage so strong that it takes us through. Or maybe it's just a flicker of hope that refuses to die. Whatever it is, we endure it, we survive it, and we don't get no gallantry awards for it, right? You've never heard an army wife getting an award for herself. Nobody comes to us and says and pins a medal on our chest saying, "Hey, well done you," in that situation of torture. Nothing of that sort happens. The lessons I've learned. Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you. The lessons I've learned are very simple. Don't complain. Have courage in situations that are far from ordinary. And do your duty because your husband is doing his. And for us army wives, we do our duty. Every time, doing our duty tears us apart. We die 1,000 deaths, like I just said. And like I said, we are unsung heroes where the silent ranks, our sacrifice is uncelebrated. But it's all worth it in the end if your husband comes home and he's not wrapped in the tricolor, he's happy and he's smiling and he's triumphant, because Indian Army is always triumphant, right? My conclusion is this. I would give you something to chew on. The nation worries about or focuses on the motherland. We, the army families, the army wives, we focus on the mother. The father, the kids, the family dog, the family, the household, without a frown on our face. The soldier holds the front bravely because he knows that the woman he's left behind is holding the home front as bravely as he is. A force of 1.4 lakh soldiers can go out there and defend the nation from enemies, domestic and international, because he knows that the woman force standing back in the house is doing their job. We, ladies and gentlemen, make it possible for him. So it stopped working again, but I'd like to conclude with this, and I'd like to say that these lessons are not mine alone. I hope all three of them help you in life too. And I also hope that today you go from here realizing that the army wife's role is not just defined by the virtue of her being married to a uniform. She is the strongest breed of women I've ever seen, and I salute them. Thank you. Jai Hind.